Title: The Circus of Nightmares. I've always had a deep-seated fear of clowns. Their painted smiles and exaggerated features send shivers down my spine, invoking a sense of unease that I can't quite shake. But nothing could have prepared me for the terror that awaited me one fateful night. It started innocently enough. A group of friends and I decided to explore an abandoned circus that had been rumored to be haunted. As we ventured deeper into the decaying maze of tents and forgotten attractions, a sense of foreboding settled over us like a thick fog. That's when we first heard it, the distant sound of laughter echoing through the darkness. At first, we brushed it off as our imaginations playing tricks on us. But as we delved further into the labyrinthine corridors of the circus, the laughter grew louder, more insistent. And then we saw them, creepy clowns lurking in the shadows, their painted faces twisted into grotesque grins. They moved with an unnatural grace, gliding silently through the darkness, their eyes gleaming with malice. We tried to run, to escape the nightmare that had engulfed us, but it was no use. The clowns were everywhere, herding us like terrified cattle, driving us deeper into the heart of their twisted domain. As we stumbled through the maze of tents and abandoned rides, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred, and I found myself questioning whether I was trapped in some kind of surreal dream, or if this was truly happening. But then, just as all hope seemed lost, we stumbled upon a dilapidated tent at the center of the circus, a makeshift arena where the clowns performed their macabre rituals. And there, in the flickering light of a dying torch, we came face to face with the true horror of the circus. The clowns were not human, not in any sense that I could comprehend. They were monstrous creatures, their bodies contorted and twisted into grotesque shapes, their laughter a chilling cacophony that echoed through the night. With a sense of mounting dread, I realized that we were not the first to fall victim to the circus's dark magic, nor would we be the last. We were just another group of unwitting souls, lured into the clutches of these malevolent beings, destined to join the ranks of the lost and the damned. And as the clowns closed in around us, their painted smiles widening into rictus grins, I knew that there was no escape from the nightmare that had become our reality. We were trapped in the circus of nightmares, doomed to wander its twisted halls for all eternity. Title: The Haunting Laughter. I never thought a routine school lockdown could turn into a nightmare straight out of a horror movie. It all started on a gloomy Tuesday afternoon, just as the final bell was about to ring. The intercom crackled to life with an urgent message from the principal, instructing us to immediately initiate lockdown procedures due to a security threat on campus. Panic swept through the classroom like wildfire as we hastily followed protocol, locking the doors, turning off the lights, and huddling in silence in the corner. Outside, the once lively halls fell eerily silent, punctuated only by the occasional muffled sound of footsteps and whispered prayers. As the minutes ticked by, tension mounted, and the air grew thick with apprehension. That's when we heard it. Faint at first, but unmistakable. Laughter. Not the kind of laughter you'd expect during a lockdown, but a sinister, unsettling chuckle that sent shivers down our spines. I exchanged nervous glances with my classmates, our hearts pounding in unison as we strained to listen. The laughter seemed to be coming from somewhere nearby, echoing through the empty corridors like a haunting melody. Then, out of the darkness, they appeared, clowns. Their white-painted faces contorted into grotesque smiles, their eyes gleaming with malice as they prowled the halls with an unnerving grace. I felt a chill run down my spine as they drew closer, their laughter growing louder with each passing moment. It was as if they were toying with us, reveling in our fear like predators toying with their prey. I huddled closer to my classmates, my breath caught in my throat as the clowns passed by our classroom door, their laughter fading into the distance. For what felt like an eternity, we remained frozen in terror, praying for the lockdown to end and for the nightmare to be over. When the all-clear finally sounded over the intercom, we emerged from our hiding place, shaken but relieved. But the memory of those sinister clowns lingered like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over our once safe school. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that they're still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the next opportunity to strike. And as I walk the halls, I can't help but wonder if the laughter will return, echoing through the empty corridors once more. Title: The Clown's Grin. I never imagined my first encounter with a real-life nightmare would involve clowns. It was a crisp autumn evening, and I was walking home from work when I saw him. A figure lurking in the shadows, his face painted in grotesque colors, a twisted grin plastered across his features. At first, I dismissed him as just another street performer, a harmless oddity in the bustling city streets. But as I passed by, something about his gaze sent a chill down my spine, a primal instinct warning me to steer clear. I quickened my pace, eager to put distance between myself and the eerie clown. But no matter how fast I walked, it felt like he was always right behind me, his presence looming like a dark cloud over my shoulder. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, chalking it up to paranoia. But then, just as I turned the corner onto my street, I heard it, the sound of footsteps, quickening to match my own. I glanced over my shoulder, and there he was, the clown, his grin widening into a sinister smirk as he closed in on me with alarming speed. Panic surged through my veins as I broke into a run, my heart pounding in my chest. But it was too late. With a sudden lunge, the clown grabbed me from behind, his grip like iron as he dragged me into the darkness of an alleyway. I struggled and screamed, but his laughter drowned out my cries for help. And then, just as I thought all hope was lost, I heard another sound. Sirens, growing louder with each passing moment. The police had arrived, drawn by the commotion of our struggle. With a desperate burst of strength, I managed to break free from the clown's grasp, stumbling into the open arms of the waiting officers. They quickly subdued the clown, his maniacal laughter fading into the night as he was handcuffed and led away. As I caught my breath, the reality of what had just transpired began to sink in. The clown wasn't just a harmless performer. He was a wanted criminal, a killer on the run from the law. I shuddered at the thought of what could have happened if the police hadn't arrived when they did. But as I walked home, shaken but alive, I couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmare was far from over. The memory of that twisted grin would haunt me for years to come. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of the world we thought we knew. Title: The Ex's Mask. I never thought I'd encounter my worst nightmares in the form of a clown, but life has a funny way of playing tricks on you. It all began innocently enough, with a night out at the carnival with my boyfriend Alex. We laughed and enjoyed the attractions, oblivious to the darkness lurking just around the corner. As we wandered through the crowded fairgrounds, I caught a glimpse of a figure in the distance, a clown, his face obscured by layers of white paint and a garish grin. My breath caught in my throat as memories of my past relationship flooded back, memories I had tried so hard to bury. You see, the clown wasn't just any clown. He was my ex-boyfriend Jake, the one who had haunted my dreams ever since our tumultuous breakup. I thought I had left him behind, but here he was, wearing a mask of deception and malice. I tried to warn Alex, to tell him about Jake's violent tendencies and the danger he posed, but he brushed off my concerns as paranoia. He couldn't understand the terror that gripped me every time I looked into those soulless eyes, the memories of Jake's rage still fresh in my mind. As the night wore on, the carnival seemed to transform into a nightmarish funhouse, with Jake lurking in the shadows at every turn. I tried to keep Alex close, to protect him from the danger that I knew was lurking just beneath the surface. But Jake was relentless, his presence a suffocating weight that pressed down on me like a nightmare come to life. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, he made his move. With a sudden lunge, Jake grabbed Alex from behind, his grip like a vice as he dragged him into the darkness. I screamed and struggled, but it was no use. Jake was too strong, too consumed by his own twisted rage. But just as all hope seemed lost, Alex fought back with a ferocity I had never seen before, overpowering Jake and sending him fleeing into the night. We escaped the carnival, shaken but alive, the memory of Jake's sinister grin etched into our minds. As we drove home, I couldn't shake the feeling that Jakey would return, his obsession with me driving him to madness. But for now, we were safe, together in the darkness, united against the horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of our reality.